The One with the Rumour is the 9th episode of the 8th season of Friends. This is directed by Gary Halvorson, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. It's a really solid episode. I was really excited to finally reach this one, and I have to say, it's really, really good fun. It's also the 6th top-rated Friends episode on IMDb at the moment. It has 9.2 out of 10 across 8.5 thousand reviews and ratings. So, needless to say, it's definitely one that's quite well received. Usually with Friends, I will talk about each part of the narrative in turn, but with this one, I'll go through things chronologically as I think that makes the most sense. And this one, of course, is set at Thanksgiving. And we find out that Monica has actually invited Will to Thanksgiving, her old school friend, who used to also be quite large. And she also reveals she's not making a turkey this year because Phoebe doesn't eat meat, Chandler doesn't eat Thanksgiving food, Rachel's having her aversion to meat, and Joey's not happy, so she agrees, and Joey will eat the whole turkey. And we'll come back to that in a bit. We're then at the apartment for Thanksgiving. Chandler and Phoebe are faking watching the game to get out of helping make napkin swans. And then Will arrives. And I have to say, I love the audience's reaction when the door is opened and it's revealed to be Brad Pitt. I don't know if they would have known it was Brad Pitt beforehand. Often with sitcoms, at least as far as I've seen, the cast will be introduced before they start taping. But I wonder if it's a big name like Brad Pitt, they kept that back for the reveal. I don't know. If anybody knows, please feel free to tell me. But either way, I loved the audience's reaction. And yeah, he looks great. And before Rachel arrives, we kind of learn that he doesn't like Rachel. In fact, he hates Rachel. She was kind of mean to him in high school, which is not a great look for Rachel, but we know that Rachel has gone on quite a strong character journey, even over the last few years. So Rachel of high school is not the Rachel of today, but it's still not nice thinking she basically made somebody's life miserable. And Rachel arrives, and Will is over talking with Ross. Rachel's entering the room, and she's standing there with some yams, and Will says, "My two greatest enemies, Ross, Rachel Greene and complex carbohydrates," which I rather liked. Everybody sits down for dinner, and Monica presents a small bird, which Joey thinks is the turkey. No, it's Chandler's chicken. She then brings out the 19-pound turkey, and Joey gets to work on it. And I have to say, it sounds doable. As somebody, I don't eat a lot of meat, but when it comes to roast dinners, Christmas dinners with white meat, usually chicken. I'm more of a chicken person, but it seems like a challenge that would be easy, but I'm sure in reality it's not, and we'll come back to Joey in a little bit. Will was then being unacceptable. I have to say, Will's behaviour in this episode from this point on was disgusting. Yes, he was hurt by Rachel, but he is a guest in Monica's home, and he almost immediately starts causing an argument, a fight. He is bitter. His behaviour is unacceptable. If you're a guest in somebody's house, even if one of their other guests made your life a misery, you do not start being really horrible to that person across the dinner table. But we do get some comedy. We find out that he created the I Hate Rachel Greene Club. He actually co-founded it with Ross. It was Ross, Will, and an exchange student. And the reason Ross joined, or co-founded, as Will insisted, is because he was in love with Rachel, and I guess he felt rejected, and it was his way of kind of dealing with those emotions. Not necessarily a healthy way, but nevertheless. And Rachel's understandably really hurt by this. Anybody would be hurt by finding out people had created a hate club for them. And then we also find out that they started a rumour about her, that she, well, as Chandler put it, "You were the hermaphrodite cheerleader from Long Island." Everybody knew about this, which is terrifying to think that rumours could spread like that, especially in a time without social media. And Rachel, again, is really hurt by this because people are spreading lies. And, well, it turns out she also started a rumour. But is it a rumour if it's true? This is one of my favourite things to see on mostly Instagram, where Ross made out with Mrs. Altman, the librarian, and he explains she didn't look 50. And often on Instagram, people will put that quote with a picture of Jennifer Aniston, a recent picture of her. And it's a very good point. If Mrs. Altman looked like Jennifer Aniston at the time, she didn't look 50, and she looks fantastic. So maybe Ross has a point, but it's not the image I think most of us are conjuring up when we picture Mrs. Altman. And Ross, obviously annoyed that Rachel spread this because he didn't think anybody knew, he decides he's back in the club and Phoebe wants to join. Ross being back in the club was funny in itself, but Rachel just watching Phoebe then want to join was just heartbreaking and funny, and it was so brilliantly executed. And then Will finds out about the baby. Imagine a co-founder of the I Hate Rachel Greene Club getting Rachel Greene pregnant, being the father of her child. It's not what Will expected. And I feel like at that point, it kind of fizzled out. My only criticism of the episode is that after that, the story with Will just kind of deflated a little bit. And I'm wondering, I don't have any information about this, but I'm wondering if there might have been some scenes deleted or a moment deleted. I watched this on Netflix and I used to have the VHS and then the DVD, but it's been a very long time since I watched this episode on DVD, so I don't know, but Netflix does delete scenes, or they're not given the full things for streaming, whichever way it is, and maybe that was a little bit removed, but it just felt like it fell a little bit flat. But other than that, it's obviously a really great story, very fun. Obviously, I didn't mention this, but the fact that it's Brad Pitt, who was with Jennifer Aniston, but Will hates Rachel, it's funny. It works really well. You don't need to know that Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were together to be able to enjoy the episode, but it gives it an additional layer that's certainly good fun. And at the very end of the episode, Joey comes in wearing Phoebe's maternity pants that she gave to Rachel, but now they're his Thanksgiving pants. And I have to say I agree with Joey, because the turkey basically defeated him. He had the meat sweats, it was a lot. And watching Joey go through that, much credit to Matt LeBlanc's acting abilities, that's when my opinion changed. At the beginning, I looked at that turkey and thought, yeah, I could demolish that. And then seeing Joey struggling there, I thought, yeah, I feel quite full just watching it. So credit to Matt LeBlanc, of course. And I also agree with Joey, because a little later on, after he's been stuffed by the turkey, he wants a nice helping of pie. And I agree, there's a difference between being full of your savoury food and being too full to eat. I can feel full off of savoury, but I still have room for something sweet, so I'm with Joey there. And it's a great episode. I love the holiday-themed episodes of Friends. They're always fantastic. I don't think there's a weak link. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering. But in general, the holiday-themed episodes of Friends, the Thanksgiving Day episodes, they're just always fabulous fun. And needless to say, as the 6th top-rated episode on IMDb at the time of discussing this, the one with the rumour is absolutely amazing. Yes, I feel like the narrative dropped off a little bit. I felt like I was wanting just something else, just a little something else. But other than that, it's pretty perfect, and I'm sure it's an episode that I will always really thoroughly enjoy.